Morning.
On the behalf of G.D.Pol Foundation's Y.M.T Homeopathic College, myself, Dr. Aparna Kulgude, HOD Department of Forensic Medicine, welcome you in today's webinar.
Thank you, ma'am.
Today's topic is neither clinical nor therapeutic, but it is medico-legal. That is legal aspects in medical practice. Now, somewhere in second year, we have come across this topic. But now when you are going to enter in your practice, you need to brush up that knowledge. Because in practice, what you do and what you are not supposed to do, both are equally important. Now, law and relation comes into discussion जब डॉक्टर के हक की बात होती है, जब डॉक्टर्स पे और हॉस्पिटल्स पे हमले होते हैं, या फिर मेडिकल नेग्लिजेंस के केसेस सामने आते हैं जब पेशेंट के हक की बात होती है, या फिर डॉक्टर की ड्यूटी क्या है कोर्ट में, फॉरेंसिक इन्वेस्टिगेशंस क्या है, ये बातें डिस्कशन में आती है जब सुशांत सिंह राजपूत जैसा कोई सेलिब्रिटी वाला केस आता है, या फिर ह्यूमन राइट वायलेशन का केस आता है, ह्यूमन जैसे कोई सी वेब सीरीज के थ्रू ह्यूमन ट्रायल्स का मामला सामने आता है. अदरवाइज हम लॉ के बारे में बहुत कम जानते हैं. हमें सिर्फ पता है वो फैंसी कोर्ट रूम ड्रामाज, वो तारीख पे तारीख वाले डायलॉग, या फिर जॉली एलएलबी जैसे मूवीज है, बस उसके थ्रू ही हम जानते हैं. लेकिन रियलिटी कुछ अलग होती है. फ्रैंकली स्पीकिंग, जब मैं पहली बार अपने स्टूडेंट्स को कोर्ट विजिट के लिए लेके गई, तब मुझे भी बहुत बड़ा डिफरेंस लगा जो हम देखते हैं और जो सच्चाई है. तो ये रियलिटी क्या है, what are duties of doctors, what precautions doctors should take, to throw more light on that. Today we have with us our guest speaker, Advocate Varsha Vinod Deshmukh. On the behalf of G.D.Pol Foundation, I welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you.
We are very thankful that you accepted our invitation. Before beginning with the topic, let me introduce ma'am in brief. Advocate Varsha Vinod Deshmukh has completed her BSc LLB. She is a practicing lawyer at Nashik Court. She has a vast experience of about 25 years of practice. Madam is member Legal Aid. She is also a member of Bar Association Nashik. Madam is an honorable member of Ayurveda Mahasangha and Maharashtra Sahitya Parishad. And last but not the least, she is the beloved sister of our own Dr. Varsha Dange, madam. So Dr. Seema Dange, ma'am. So we feel very homely to have her with us. Thank you so much, ma'am. And I request you to begin with the topic. One more thing, I request all participants, please mute yourself. After ma'am's session, we are going to take the question answer session. By then, you can put your questions in the chat box also. So, ma'am, now you can begin with your lecture.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you so much. And I'm also pleasured to join this webinar. And a very sensitive and emotional topic has been set up for today's webinar. Closely related. In Indian society, doctors and lawyers play a very important role. They go hand in hand together, very dignified and important professions. When a person is ill, when he is not feeling well, when he suffers from certain diseases, he approaches a doctor. And at that time, doctor is God for him. So what doctor suggests, he will act and behave accordingly. Same goes with when you come into trouble. I say into trouble, not disease or anything. When you come into trouble and situations, then you have to run to a lawyer. For example, you are walking through on your bike or on the road and you are hit by somebody. then it is a hit and run case. And in this hit and run case, then police comes immediately. He takes that person to the hospital, takes the treatment. And in such a small hit and run incidents, not only doctor, a lawyer is also equally important. Because if you are more injured, then if you're more injured, then it's a police case. In all the hospitals, when such incidences occur, a police case has to be registered. Let me deal with some basic laws of India. India is a democratic country. We have three basic laws. One is Criminal Procedure Code, the other is Indian Penal Code, and the Indian Evidence Act. What is the Criminal Procedure Code? That if any incidents where law and order comes into question, then the Criminal Procedure Code comes in, and that is the law where how to deal with the cases described. Then comes the Indian Penal Code, wherein there are different sections. Most of the lawyer knows 300, all over India, everybody knows section 302. What is section 302? It is a murder. It's a culpable homicide. Murder. Everybody knows murder. 302 झाला. 302 झाला म्हणजे murder झाला. And then after IPC, this is one of the, in total there are 518 sections of IPC regarding the democratic structure of India. And then last comes the Indian Evidence Act, which is very important as far as doctors are concerned. Because in Indian Evidence Act, every document that comes to court has to be proved by itself. And therefore, Indian Evidence Act is very, very important in the legal procedure. Now, doctors and lawyers and police have to work hand in hand for all the unnatural deaths. When a person dies naturally, there is no question of any of this law and order. But when the death is unnatural, maybe due to accident, maybe due to murder, unnatural death, then in such cases, there is postmortem. When there is a postmortem, jurisprudence comes into. What is jurisprudence? Now, when postmortem is done, very often we see in the news that viscera is preserved. Bones, DNA test is done. Recently, very recently, in Nashik and on TV news also, in the bulletin you must have heard. One municipal corporation doctor, Dr. Suvarna Vaje, she has been supposed to be murdered by her husband. She was found dead, burnt alive on the highway. And the husband himself had written a complaint of missing. And then the police machinery was also, where is she? If she is missing, and if this dead body is here, then is this the dead body of that doctor? What is the cause? What is the problem? It was burnt to such an extent that only burnt bones were found at the incidents. So what police did? Police took the DNA sample of her father. And within 8 days, the report of that DNA sample was provided by the faculty of the doctors. And matching the DNA sample with her father proved that she was doctor herself. And then came the question, who burnt her? Then there was a postmortem, there was an investigation. And now police has arrested her husband. Every Unnatural death has some loopholes wherein police machinery finds out whether it is a murder or a natural death. Whenever there is a complaint, there is investigation. When there is investigation, investigation is carried out by the two machineries, that is police and the doctors. Doctors find out exactly he's strangulated, he's stabbed, how is he murdered? If there is a fight by fight in between two peoples, and there is a police complaint, then in that police complaint, both the parties go to the hospital. Once the parties go to the hospital, then in every hospital, it is mandatory to keep the MLC register. Now, what is MLC register? MLC register is medico-legal case. Means the cases wherein there is a fight, there is a trouble, there is a murder, there is an accident, anything that is not natural, unnatural incidences, there is a MLC. When you go to hospital, in such cases, the security and the ward boy primarily asks, what is the matter? MLC आहे का? सरकारी दवाखान्यात जर केलं तर पहिले विचारतात MLC आहे का? MLC आहे का म्हणजे काय झालेलं आहे? आणि मग MLC रजिस्टर जर केली कुठल्याही हॉस्पिटलमध्ये, in any of the hospital, if MLC is registered, it is mandatory to inform the police. Most of the times, police themselves refer the patients to the hospital. But when it is an accident, when the accident occurs and ambulance brings the patient to the hospital, that time, few times police don't know where the accident has happened, or the relatives directly bring to the hospital. Then in those cases, these patients have to be registered in the MLC register. And then it is the duty of the doctors or the hospital to inform the police. Now, once MLC is there, previously it was so that doctor not used to treat the patient until and unless MLC is registered and police comes to the hospital. But nowadays, due to the various case laws, various judgments reported from the High Court, Supreme Court, it has become compulsory for the doctors to first save the life of the person and then do the remaining formalities. Why it was so? Because very often, if the patient dies in such circumstances, then doctor was held responsible for that. That it was the doctor who did not give immediate treatment, and it is the negligence of the doctor in looking after the patient. And therefore, time and on, High Court and Supreme Court has in various judgments stated that first treat the patient, save his life, and then complete the formality. Now, day by day, since a single doctor hospital has the concept of private hospitals has lowered down and corporate has come into. So the rules and regulations and law for corporate hospitals and for a private hospital almost at the same vary a little. In corporate hospitals, they have a machinery wherein other than doctor, other staff is there to do all these duties. So simultaneously, there can be a treatment and all the other formalities can also be completed. Now, what happens when a medico-legal case is registered? Patient treats the doctor. and they give him a medical certificate. Medical certificate in court has the highest evidential value. Suppose there is a hit and run case. The person is injured and the case registered takes a long 7 to 8 years for final hearing. Then neither the patient nor the police machinery nor anybody remembers what exactly had happened. So that time the medical certificate issued by the doctor has a very important role to play. The court has every right to summon the doctor in such cases. Summons is sent to the doctor. Doctor comes for his evidence. How is the doctor's evidence taken? It is asked to the doctor. On the medical certificate, it is written that this patient was, everybody is aware with the medical certificate issued by the doctor. Since you all are still learning, maybe when you join your services or when you join your profession, you will also be giving it with your signature, the doctor's certificate, wherein when you were admitted, when you had come for the treatment, what had happened to you, whether you were stabbed, whether you were hit by a rod, or whether you had fallen yourself, all such your diagnosis is written on that medical certificate. Then on such medical certificate, it is the state government pleader who asks you all these questions. And then comes the lawyer for the defense. That is one who is the accused, on whom you have all these allegations, ज्याच्यावरती आरोप ठेवलेले आहे असा आरोपी आणि ज्याला इजा झालेली आहे किंवा ज्याने तक्रार केलेली आहे असा तो फिर्यादी, कंप्लेनंट अँड अक्यूज. मग अशी फिर्याद जेव्हा डॉक्टर येऊन आणि साक्ष देतो, when he gives his evidence, मग अशा वेळेस डिफेन्स लॉयर asks you की हे तुम्ही इथे लिहिलेलं आहे की अशा प्रकारची जखम दांड्याने होऊ शकते. मग तुम्हाला आरोपीचा वकील काय विचारणार? ही जी दांड्याने झालेली जखम आहे, ही एखाद्या स्वतः जाऊन टक्कर मारली तरी होऊ शकते. मग इट इज अपॉन द डॉक्टर टू से येस ऑर नो. त्यांनी म्हटलं की नाही नाही होऊ शकते, पण ही आता यानेच झालेली आहे. मग तुम्ही होते का तिथे पाहायला डॉक्टर ही जखम कशाने झाली आहे? नाही, तुम्ही तर याच्यावर नसतात ना, यू आर नॉट ऑन द फील्ड. तुमच्याकडे पेशंट जेव्हा तुमच्या ताब्यात येतो तेव्हा तो सांगतो की ही जखम मला दांडा मारून झालेली आहे. युअर डायग्नोसिस शुड डिपेंड. त्याने जरी सांगितलं की ही दांड्याने जखम झालेली, तरी सुद्धा डॉक्टर also should think whether this is really by a rod, by a knife, or by himself, or by falling down. Generally what happens, that doctor says कसं कसं काय लागलं, त्याने दांडा मारला, and you write on the medical certificate that it is due to a rod. And then when such things come in the court, and when the lawyer asks you की या ज्या प्रकारच्या जखमा आहेत या अनेक प्रकारे होऊ शकतात, आणि मग शेवटी प्रश्न असतो आरोपीच्या वकिलांचा की डॉक्टर तुम्ही हे जे सर्टिफिकेट दिलं याच्यावर तुमची सही आहे, हो आहे, पण तुम्ही यात जे लिहिलेलं आहे ते तुम्ही खोटं सांगताय. आणि असं जेव्हा वकील विचारतो तेव्हा डॉक्टर गेट्स फ्युरियस. व्हाय शुड आय टेल लाय? It is known to the judge that you are not telling the lie. Your certificate is not false, but it is the duty of the defense lawyer to prove that how you have given a false certificate. That does not mean that your certificate is false. The certificate issued by you carries a very high value. Your medical certificate is enough to send that person, to hold him guilty and to send him to jail. So the MLC register and the medical certificate issued by the hospitals and the doctors carry a very high evidential value. This was regarding the MLC, the basic medical legal certificate and the medical legal cases that are carried to the court and where a doctor and a lawyer face one to each other. And therefore, while issuing such medical legal certificate, every doctor has to be very careful while giving the treatment, while issuing such certificates. A very basic norm about this, whether you have a professional practice or you are in a service. Then we come to the next topic, that is legal aspects of the medical records. What is the legal aspect of all the medical record that you have? Say since prior to 30 years back, medical legal record did not have too much of value. But now, since insurance has come to play a very important role, this medical legal record has become of a high priority. We pay premiums, and when any such incident happens, then we claim the mediclaim, we claim the insurance. And when you claim the insurance, you have to prove that they made this legal record which the hospital and the doctors have issued is up to the mark. Because what you state in the record is going to affect the insurance company as well as the patient. He will get the amount only when doctors certify that their record is up to the mark. Medical legal record is also very important because to prove that the doctor was absolutely not negligent while playing his duty. We very often hear on the news, डॉक्टरला खूप मारलं, हॉस्पिटलची तोडफोड केली, बिलावरून खूप मारामाऱ्या झाल्या आणि डॉक्टर जखमी झाले, हॉस्पिटलमध्ये खूप नुकसान झालं. ह्या आपण बातम्या व्हेरी ऑफन बघतो. Why does this happen? In today's society, ethics play a very small role, which prior to some years back, ethics was very important. And ethics are very important in every profession, not only doctor, not only lawyer. In every profession, ethics are very important. And when you don't follow ethics, then you land into trouble. There are some professional ethics. And what are those professional ethics and how to follow them? For doctors, there is the Indian Medical Council. Indian Medical Council has its own norms. And according to those norms, if you don't follow the ethics, it is quite possible that doctor's negligence can be proved. Doctor is a god when a patient goes to him. And God has a very partial view for everyone. God cannot say he's my favorable. So doctor, you go do a good treatment to him. आणि हा तर काही चांगला नव्हता, हा तर गुंडाच होता, याने काही समाजात चांगलं काम केलेलं नाही, मग मरतो तर मरू द्या. Doctor cannot have such a view. He has to be careful in treating every patient that comes to him. आणि मग वकील आहे जो डॉक्टरच्या कडून हे प्रूव्ह करून घेतो की डॉक्टरने तर व्यवस्थित ट्रीटमेंट दिली, पण याचं बॅकग्राऊंड चांगलं नसल्यामुळे याचा मर्डर झाला आणि हा मेला. हे वकिलाचं काम. पण वकिलापेक्षाही डॉक्टरची रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ही खूप मोठी असते, कारण माणूस जिवंत राहिला तर वकील काम करेल. आणि त्या माणसाला जिवंत ठेवण्यासाठी डॉक्टर हॅज टू प्ले हिज व्हेरी की अँड इम्पॉर्टंट एथिकल रोल. आणि मग जेव्हा तुम्ही एथिक्स फॉलो करत नाही, तेव्हा मग मेडिकल नेग्लिजन्स कम्स इन टू क्वेश्चन. Very few, say lakh in 10 doctors are proved for negligence. Otherwise, it is very difficult to prove the negligence of doctor. Technically also, doctor has to be very much up to the mark, because technical papers play a lot of role in legal machinery. तुम्ही काही केलं नसेल, तुम्ही खूप जीवापाड त्या पेशंट वरती ट्रीटमेंट केली, सगळं केलं, आणि अनफॉर्च्युनेटली ही डाईड, आणि हे सगळं करताना तुम्ही कन्सेंट फॉर्मवर पेशंटच्या नातेवाईकांची सहीच घेतली नाही, विसरून गेला, राहून गेली, आणि दे क्लेम that the patient died due to the negligence of doctor. Then you are proved guilty because you have not taken the consent. In your consent form, there are terms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 लिहिलेलं असतं की आम्ही सगळे प्रयत्न करणार आहोत, पण तुमच्या पेशंटला जर काही झालं तर आमच्या ट्रीटमेंटमुळे ते आम्ही सगळी ट्रीटमेंट करणार आहोत. तुमच्या पेशंटला ऍडमिट करताना काही झालं तर यू आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर इट. आणि हा कन्सेंट फॉर्म खूप महत्वाचा असतो. बऱ्याच वेळा काय होतं की पेशंट ऍडमिट करतो आपण, डॉक्टर लोक पेशंटला ऍडमिट करून घेतात, दे गो फॉर देअर ट्रीटमेंट, अँड इट इज अश्युम्ड दॅट डॉक्टर इज बिझी, सो हिज स्टाफ विल टेक द कन्सेंट. आणि पेपर्स भरताना घेऊ किंवा आधी डिपॉझिट भरा, मग कन्सेंट फॉर्मवर सह्या घेऊ, वगैरे वगैरे. अशा याच्यात ती जर कन्सेंट राहून गेली तर it is a chance that the medical negligence of the doctor is proved and also of the hospital is proved. So doctor has to be very alert in to see that no negligence is caused by him. I had a matter wherein it was from Nagar district. That lady, she was around about 20 years of old.
कुछ नहीं करने गए अभी।
Are you
काम अभी
audible?
इसका लिंक
Everybody?
बनाने का।
Dr. Radhika, please mute yourself.
Can you listen me? Okay. So, lady was admitted, a girl was admitted, aged about 20 years, to the PHC, Primary Health Center, for delivery. She delivered a baby. Doctor, the medical officer, he asked the A&M to conduct the delivery. She was quite capable. She conducted the delivery. Doctor came, checked her. She was all right. Till 4 o'clock in the morning, she was all right. And after, say, 5 o'clock, she was given a cup of tea. And after that, she suddenly started feeling guilty. She started bleeding. That post-bleeding, of post बाळंतपणानंतर जे bleeding होतं ते. And in all these, by the time she was taken to the bigger civil hospital, she lost her life. Now, actually, there was no role of doctor. It was not that doctor did not treat her or doctor did not appear or he did not take care of that. Sister was there. The primary health workers were there. Dr. Poprikar was there. In spite of that, her relatives lodged a complaint against the doctor, medical officer. and the medical staff, A&M, that primary health workers, that because of their negligence, we lost our patient. And a case was filed, investigations were done, that doctor and A&M were suspended from their services. And it was a very much big mental stress for them to prove that they were not at all liable for the death of that girl. It took them 3 to 4 years of their suspension to get back into the services. And I had to prove that how they were not at all responsible. And then the court released them. And then again they were joined in their services. This was a mental agony for the doctor, for the A&M, for all the health workers. In such cases, it is the duty of the doctor to give confidence to the patient's relatives that, see, we are trying this, we have done this. You cannot say that we were treating the doctor and so we had. It is your doctor's duty to convince the patient's relatives that we have given time and on treatment to her. And it is not because of them that the patient died. It is because of the physical trouble, physical problems that she faced or he faced during the treatment. Maybe the patient may not respond to your treatment. Maybe he may have some other complications. Very often the relatives don't tell you the prior history. And after the death, they blame the doctor. So it is to prove the medical that we have not done any medical negligence. It is on your part a duty to take the relatives and the patient in confidence and tell them what not all things may happen, so that you are legally safe and the patient also feels that he is physically and mentally safe in the doctor's hand. Very small issues are there, wherein the patient feels that doctor has not treated her well. So at those times, it is your duty to assure them that you are in safe hands, so that medical negligence is not put. In Indian law, in Indian society, India is a democratic country. Everybody has a way of thinking themselves. And we have a patriarchal system. आपल्या समाजामध्ये मुलाला खूप महत्व आहे. मुलगा पाहिजे. पूर्वी 5 मुली झाल्या. माझ्या माहितीतल्या माझ्या एका पक्षकाराला 9 मुली आणि 10वा मुलगा आहे. एकाच बाईपासून. तो मुलगा होण्यासाठी पहिल्या 9 मुली होऊ दिलेल्या. And very unfortunate to tell, I have one more client who is a doctor herself, who has 4 daughters and 1 son. And when I asked her, की तुम्ही स्वतः डॉक्टर आहात, 4 मुली होऊ दिल्या म्हणे. हो, नवऱ्याला मुलगा पाहिजेच होता आणि त्या मुलाला डॉक्टरच करायचं होतं, कारण खेडेगावात खूप मोठी प्रॅक्टिस आहे, खूप मान आहे आणि डॉक्टरचा मुलगा डॉक्टरच झाला पाहिजे. आपल्याला एक भारतामध्ये सक्सेशन ऍक्ट आहे. वी हॅव हिंदू सक्सेशन ऍक्ट. म्हणजे इफ अ पर्सन डाईज, त्याने कोणीही एखादा व्यक्ती गेलं आणि त्याने विल केलेलं नसेल, इफ ही डाईज अनटेस्टेड, म्हणजे टेस्टिमोनी, देर इज अ टेस्टिमोनी, देर इज अ विल अँड देर इज नॉट अ विल. When there is not a will, then after the death of that person, prior to 1956, only the son was the legal heir of that person. Then after 1956, law was amended, Main's law came into force. आणि मग मुलाचा हिस्सा इतका, मग मुलीचा हिस्सा इतका, असं ठरवत ठरवत त्या बाकी फर्स्ट क्लेम वॉज ऑफ दॅट सन. आणि त्याच्यामुळे काय झालं, मुलगा हा हवाच, मुलगा हा वंशाचा दिवा, प्रॉपर्टीचा वारस, अशी समाजाची रूढ भावना झाली. या दृढ भावनेतून कितीही मुली असल्या तरी मुलगा पाहिजेच, असं एक समाजात समज तयार झाला. Then it was after 2002 and then after 2004 again law was amended and a girl also had, a female child also had the right to property as soon as she was born. म्हणजे पूर्वी असं होतं की मुलगा जन्माला आला की त्याच्या दुसऱ्या दिवशी त्याला प्रॉपर्टीचा हक्क, त्याच दिवशी त्याला प्रॉपर्टीचा हक्क मिळाला. मुलगी जन्माला आली तर शी हॅड नो बर्थ राईट इन द प्रॉपर्टी. आणि त्याच्यामुळे काय झालं, इन बिटवीन दीज इयर्स त्या मुलाला मुलगा पाहिजे या सगळ्या कॉन्सेप्टला इतका समाजात जोर मिळाला की देन देर केम इनटू all those sex determination cases. म्हणजे बाळ पोटात असतानाच तो मुलगा आहे की मुलगी आहे. When in our times, say 30-40 years back, ते डॉक्टर टेस्ट करायचे, ते काहीतरी फ्लुइड काढायचे, त्या फ्लुइड मधून ती टेस्ट करायची आणि मग त्या टेस्ट वरनं इट वॉज डिसाइडेड वेदर इट इज अ मेल ऑर अ फिमेल चाइल्ड. मग मेल चाइल्ड असेल तर देर वॉज नो क्वेश्चन, पण फिमेल चाइल्ड असेल तर दॅट वॉज अबॉर्टेड. अँड दिस इश्यू रेस्ड टू सच अ हाय लेवल की देन the judiciary had to enter and law was passed against sex determination. तुम्ही अशा प्रकारे सेक्स डिटर्मिनेशन केलं तर डॉक्टर इज ऑल्सो हेल्ड लायबल फॉर दिस फिटिसाइड. पुढे जाऊन मेडिकल टेक्नॉलॉजी ऍडव्हान्स झाली आणि the sex was known by sonography very easily. Today even doctor knows that sonographically whether it is a male child or a female child. मग female child असेल तर त्याचं abortion. In Solapur, a doctor was convicted for this sex determination. It was proved against him that he used to charge a heavy amount and let know whether it is a male child or a female child. Miscarriages and MTP, medical termination of pregnancy and miscarriages. While sex determination, again a great social awareness has been done. Law was amended. Child was also given full rights according to birth. And then thereafter it has been noticed that the ratio of female feticide has come down a little bit, not to much extent. Even today, in today's generation also, however educated or uneducated the parents are, or how much developed this society is, a male child has a high priority. When I work as a lawyer in this social society, I'm also a family court lawyer. And even today, there are family issues based on the girl child and the boy, the son. however educated people are, they still think that I should have a son. It is okay if a downtrodden person or from a lower society person thinks that I should have a मेल चाइल्ड, मला मुलगा पाहिजे आणि मुलीच झाल्या मग बायकोला टाकून दिलं, हे खालच्या लोकांमध्ये असलं तर ठीक आहे. पण इट इज अ फॅक्ट that middle class, upper middle class and higher middle class, they surrogacy has come into because of these reasons in the higher classes that they want a male child. मोठ्या मोठ्या एम्पायरला वारस लागतो म्हणून मेल चाइल्ड हवा असतो आणि म्हणून दे ऑल्सो यूज दिस मेडिकल मशिनरी टू हॅव अ चाइल्ड. मग अशा वेळेस जेव्हा सेक्स डिटर्मिनेशन होतं आणि जेव्हा अबॉर्शन कम्स, की आता मुलगी आहे आणि आता नको, आईला नाही वाटत तो कधीच की या मुलीला पाडून टाकावं म्हणून तिचं अबॉर्शन करावं. पण the in-laws compel her to do that. And when the in-laws compel her to do that, then it is an offense. It is an offense under Indian Penal Code, section, I will just tell you, section 312 to 318. There is a punishment of 7 long years if it is proved that the miscarriage was against the abortion was against the will of that mother. It was forced by her in-laws to do that abortion. And then like every coin has two sides, there came in true and false cases. Very often, jaccha bachcha theek nahi hai. It happens so that neither the mother is well, nor the child is developed. Then, due to the physical health, they have to abort it. The mother also knows, the women knows that because it is not developing, this abortion has been done. Now, if there is a conflict in between husband and wife, immediately she turns out that my miscarriage was done against my abortion was done against my consent. These in-laws and my husband signed and forced me to do this. And then the case was registered under these sections, wherein either they were proved or not proved. But then people have to go to court. कोर्टाच्या चक्रा माराव्या लागतात, वकिलाला फी द्यावी लागते, आर्थिक आणि मानसिक नुकसान सहन करावं लागतं. So government came again with another law, that is the MTP, Medical Termination of Pregnancy. आपण जाताना म्हणतो ना, कुठे आपल्याला रस्त्यात वाचायला मिळतो, सरकारी गर्भपात केंद्र, रजिस्टर्ड MTP थिएटर सेंटर. मग हे रजिस्टर्ड MTP सेंटरची वेळ का आली? तर अशा अनेक मेडिकल प्रॉब्लेम्स होतात की द चाइल्ड इज नॉट डेव्हलप, द मदर इज ऍट रिस्क ऑफ हर लाईफ, द चाइल्ड इज ऍट द रिस्क ऑफ हर लाईफ. मग अशा वेळेस government gives some license to the doctors to legally abort the child. आणि म्हणून सरकार मान्य गर्भपात केंद्रात जर तुमचं अबॉर्शन झालं तर देअर कॅनॉट बी अ लीगल केस. तुमच्यावरती कुठल्याही प्रकारची केस होऊ शकत नाही. आणि सेक्स डिटर्मिनेशनचा रेशो इतका हाय गेला कि government had to pass the prenatal law, and according to that law, up till now, one doctor has been convicted for using the sonography machine and determining the sex. 90% of the doctors, I think 99% of the doctors in the society have a board in their hospital that no sex determination test is done in this hospital. And people like me have a good hope that doctors follow that board and ethics. And even we can see in the society that now there is equality established to some extent between a girl child and a male child and a female child. So that the sex determination law, maybe law is there, but no cases will happen according to it. Domestic violence comes into role when there are family disputes, divorce petitions, maintenance petitions. I have a maintenance petition of a doctor, highly qualified doctor lady, who is harassed by her husband in spite of being a MD doctor. मानसिक संकुचितता इतकी आहे समाजात की तुम्ही डॉक्टर आहात, वकील आहात, तुम्ही कमिशनर आहात, यू आर हायली एज्युकेटेड, यू आर नॉट एज्युकेटेड, दिवसेंदिवस your degree does not play any role in your day-to-day life. बायको IAS ऑफिसर, नवरा IAS ऑफिसर, आणि बायकोचा आरोप की मी आधी 4 वेळा अबॉर्शन केलं कारण मुली होत्या आणि याला मुलगी नको होती. IAS ऑफिसर. आणि अल्टिमेटली पटलंच नाही. And she filed a maintenance for her 2 daughters. She was quite capable of earning herself. She herself is the IAS officer. पण तरी सुद्धा वडिलांची जबाबदारी नाही. मुलगी असली म्हणून काय झालं? आणि म्हणून she had filed a maintenance. I have a MD gynecology client doctor wherein divorce is pending in between both of them. He is an orthopedic surgeon and she is a gynecologist. Such highly qualified people. When come to court, we feel pity about that. But family issues are such that whether you are a doctor or you are a lawyer or you are a vegetable vendor does not matter much. In such cases, there are certain issues involved. Very often, फॅमिली मॅटर्स मध्ये दोघांचं पटत नाही. बऱ्याच वेळा मुलगा हवा असतो म्हणून पटत नाही. कंपॅटिबिलिटी नसते म्हणून पटत नाही. फॅमिली बॅकग्राऊंड खूप वेगवेगळे असतात म्हणून पटत नाही. जे आणि काय दोघांचं कंपॅटिबिलिटी वरून पटलं नाही की पहिला आरोप काय असतो, तर ती सायको आहे किंवा तो सायको आहे. मग तो सायको आहे की नाही आणि ती वेडी आहे की नाही हे कोण प्रूव्ह करणार? तर डॉक्टर प्रूव्ह करणार. मग फॅमिली कोर्टातून डॉक्टरला समन्स जातं. डॉक्टर कम्स इन. डॉक्टरांची साक्ष होते. खूप एकमेकाच्या अंगावर चिखलफेक होते. मग डॉक्टर सांगतात की नक्की वेड कोणाला म्हणायचं, नक्की सायको कोणाला म्हणायचं, त्याच्यात हे लोक बसतात की नाही, whether the certificate of given by him is true or not, whether there is a real mental harassment. Physical harassment डॉक्टर प्रूव्ह करू शकतात. मेंटल हॅरॅसमेंट कशी प्रूव्ह करणार? So the psychiatrist comes into a key role. फॅमिली कोर्ट मध्ये व्हेरी ऑफन सायकॅट्रिस्टला बोलून आणि इट इज प्रूव्ड that the either spouse has some problem and then the divorce is granted. Secondly, in family court, when these are the issues, there is domestic violence. Domestic violence म्हणजे काय? तर शारीरिक आणि मानसिक छळ. नॅचरली शारीरिक छळ झाला, मारहाण झाली की the spouse goes to doctor, not necessarily wife, not necessarily husband. Most of the time it is wife, but sometimes it is husband also. पुढच्या पिढीमध्ये पूर्वी होता नवऱ्याने मारलं तर बायको ऐकून घ्यायची. आता नाही चालत. आता नवऱ्याने मारलं तर बायको पण मारते. मीच का मागे? इक्वॅलिटी. आणि मग अशा इक्वॅलिटीमध्ये दोघे डॉक्टरकडे जातात. दोघेही त्यांचे डॉक्टर विटनेस म्हणून आणतात. आणि मग डॉक्टर कसा खोटा बोलतो हे वकिलाला प्रूव्ह करणे इट इज अ शेम ऑन द सोसायटी. सच अ हाय डिग्रीड प्रोफेशन. आणि त्या माणसाला कोर्टात येऊन म्हणायचं की डॉक्टर तुम्ही हे अमुक अमुक खोटं बोलताय. हे म्हणावं लागतं. वकील हॅज टू डॉक्टर लॉयर हॅज टू प्रूव्ह इट. पण इट इज अ शेमफुल ऍक्ट. So then why not doctors and lawyers and all the persons together make a healthy society. जेवढं आपण समाजात अवेअरनेस स्प्रेड करू, जेवढं सामाजिक हे अवेअरनेस जास्त पसरवता येईल, स्वतःचं एथिक्स जपू, स्वतःचं प्रोफेशन जपू, तेवढं आपल्याला इट विल बी इझी टू फॉर द सोसायटी ऑल्सो अँड फॉर अवर सेल्फ ऑल्सो. व्हॉट इज सोसायटी? सोसायटी इज वी ऑल टुगेदर. समाज म्हणजे काय? मी असे अनेक लोक पाहिलेले आहेत, अनेक वकील, अनेक डॉक्टर, ज्यांचं सामाजिक कार्य खूप मोठं असतं, पण ज्यांचं पर्सनल आयुष्य अत्यंत वाईट असतं. म्हणून समाज म्हणजे काय तर आपण स्वतः when we 10-15 people come together, तुम्ही आज सामाजिक दृष्ट्या बांधलेले आहात. म्हणजे तुम्ही सगळे Y.M.T चे लेक्चरर्स, फाउंडर्स, स्टुडंट्स, एक मोठा समाजाचा जथ्था, थवा तुम्ही सगळे एकत्र आलेले आहात. सेम गोज विथ लॉयर, सेम गोज विथ, सिन्स वी हॅव अ व्हेरी बिग कास्ट सिस्टीम, जातीवर आधारलेला समाज आहे. मग अशा याच्यात जेव्हा आपण आपल्या जबाबदाऱ्या खूप व्यवस्थितरित्या पार पाडतो, तेव्हा देर इज नो क्वेश्चन ऑफ एनी मेडिकल नेग्लिजन्स, नायदर देर इज क्वेश्चन ऑफ बिटिंग द डॉक्टर्स, डिवोर्सचं प्रमाण कमी करायला, एकमेकाला सायको वेड ठरवायला आपण त्याच्यात पुढाकार घेऊन आपण अवेअरनेस सुरू केला, आपण स्वतःपासून सुरू केलं, तर दॅट विल क्रिएट अ व्हेरी हेल्दी सोसायटी. आणि अशा हेल्दी सोसायटीमध्ये सगळ्यांचीच प्रगती असते, आपली असते, समोरच्याची असते, आपल्या विद्यार्थ्यांची असते, आपल्या आजूबाजूच्या लोकांची असते. इक्वॅलिटी इन द सोसायटी इज व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट. आपण सिन्स वी आर क्वाइट एज्युकेटेड, बरोबरीचा दर्जा हा अत्यंत महत्वाचा आहे. स्वातंत्र्य, प्रत्येकाला स्वातंत्र्य हवं असतं, पण सामाजिक दृष्ट्या स्वातंत्र्य आणि स्वैराचार याच्यात एक थिन लाईन आहे. ती स्वातंत्र्याची थिन लाईन ओलांडली की तुम्ही स्वैराचारात जाता, आणि तुम्ही स्वैराचारात गेला की नायदर दी विमेन नॉर दी मेन. स्वैराचार तुम्ही केला की तुम्ही स्वतःची बर्बादी करता, तुम्ही सामाजिक दृष्ट्या सुद्धा उपद्रव ठरता, आणि आयुष्य बर्बाद होताना मी पाहिलेलं आहे. सो स्वतःच्या स्वातंत्र्याला आणि सामाजिक स्वातंत्र्याला महत्व देणे सुद्धा खूप महत्वाचं आहे. मग स्वैराचारी झालात की मग तुमच्या हातून अशा गोष्टी घडतात, जसं की आता मी डॉक्टर वाजेंचं उदाहरण दिलं. मारून टाकलं, एका डॉक्टर मुलीला मारून टाकणे हा किती मोठा अपराध आहे. Whoever, now her husband is arrested. He may be proved guilty, he may not be proved guilty. काय होईल ते इन्व्हेस्टिगेशन मशिनरीवरती डिपेंडंट राहील. पण टुडे अ डॉक्टर हॅज लॉस्ट हर लाईफ, द किड्स हॅव लॉस्ट देअर मदर, द पेरेंट्स हॅव लॉस्ट देअर चाइल्ड. इट्स अ व्हेरी बिग सोशल ट्रॉमा. असं कोणीतरी डॉक्टरला जाळून टाकणे म्हणजे एखाद्या व्यक्तीला, एखाद्या स्त्रीला अशा प्रकारे दोघांचं पटत नाही म्हणून जाळून टाकणे इज अ व्हेरी बिग सोशल ट्रॉमा. आणि अशा वेळेस वी आर द रिस्पॉन्सिबल पर्सन. वी हॅव टू थिंक की हे समाजात कसं बंद करता येईल. आणि असे मर्डर्स वगैरे जेव्हा होतात तेव्हा डॉक्टर इज समन्ड ॲट द फर्स्ट इन द कोर्ट, आणि त्याच्यात डॉक्टरची साक्ष ही अत्यंत महत्वाची असते. आय हॅव व्हेरी ऑफन सीन विटनेस्ड डॉक्टर लोक येऊन साक्ष देतात. खूप वेळा त्या विटनेसच्या नातेवाईकांना एव्हिडन्स इज टॅम्पर्ड. एव्हिडन्स इज टॅम्पर्ड, आणि बऱ्याच वेळा अशी धारणा असते की माझ्या साक्षीने काय फरक पडणार आहे. तर ही जी सामाजिक धारणा आहे ही अत्यंत चुकीची आहे. डॉक्टरच्या साक्षीवरती त्या मुलीला न्याय मिळणार आहे. त्या हु इज द सफरर, हु इज द विक्टिम, that victim is going to get तिला स्वतःला त्या म्हणजे दोष इज नॉट, तिला न्याय मिळणार. समाजात त्याचं सामाजिक दृष्ट्या सुद्धा त्याचा मेसेज जाणार आहे. आणि तुम्ही चुकीची साक्ष दिली तर समाजात रॉंग मेसेज जातो. तुम्ही बरोबर साक्ष दिली तर नाही, डॉक्टर इज व्हेरी ग्रेट, ही डिड नॉट केअर फॉर हिमसेल्फ, जे झालं होतं तेच सांगितलं. सो दॅट इन्क्रीजेस युअर व्हॅल्यू ऑल्सो. आणि म्हणून डॉक्टर प्लेज अ व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट रोल in this key machinery of the society. I would end with a say that doctors and lawyers and professionals should work hand in hand to develop a healthy society. I hope you have grasped and grabbed the key points relating to your field and understood it. Everybody is welcomed for their own queries.
Thank you so much, ma'am. In your 1 hour lecture, you have covered almost all aspects of relation between law and the field of medicine. And the most important point you stressed is if doctor knows what courts need from him, then he has a better chance to serve the society. Thank you so much for your social message also.
Thank you.
And now the question answer session. First, we'll take the question in the chat box. One question is there from Dr. Neena. Please explain the validity of certificates issued by a homeopath.
Regarding the validity certificate of a homeopath, there are some norms. For example, post-mortem. Let us begin with post-mortem. If there is a death, unnatural death, there is post-mortem. Now, homeopaths are, as per the government rules and guidelines, a homeopath cannot do a post-mortem. Allopathic doctor, matlab MD doctor is appointed for the post-mortem, for all the, as per the Indian Council rules and regulations. Now, if a homeopath gives a certificate that certain person was in depression and he is taking my treatment since so much years or since this much and is responding to my medicine, now he needs a leave or he needs a bed rest or he needs some change, then that certificate definitely carries a very high value regarding the treatment the doctor gives to him. So in all the unnatural death cases, a homeopath certificate does not play a role. But in private practice, for example, divorce cases, if a homeopath, we can summon a homeopath doctor, he can come and he can say, yes, this person was under my treatment, this is a certificate issued by me, He has successfully completed my treatment, and now he is out of that depression, out of asthma, out of piles, out of this, out of that, due to my treatment. Of course, it has a legal value, it has a evidential value, and it is important in the law, in the eyes of law.
Thank you, ma'am. We have one more question from Dr. Akash. Can a doctor give a death certificate for his own relative?
Yes, he can. Yes, he can. A doctor is supposed to be a studied person who understands life and death. Whether he is a Unani doctor, whether he is a homeopathic doctor, whether he is an allopathic doctor, any sort of doctor, he learns medicine. Means that he understands whether the person is life or death. And therefore, the death certificate issued even by a homeopath is a valid death certificate. Then it is not a question whether he has given it to a own relative or to a patient.
Thank you, ma'am. Any more questions? We have practitioners and would-be practitioners. So please ask your queries. You can ask your queries directly also. You can unmute yourself and can ask queries.
Let me conclude with one statement. Doctors are doctors and lawyers are lawyers. So when you are ill, you have to go to doctor and take treatment. Like that, when you are in trouble, you have to come to a lawyer. Because I know law, I will defend myself. Is not so. सोनारानेच कान टोचावे लागतात, स्वतःला कान टोचता येत नाही. म्हणून काही झालं तर त्या प्रोफेशनल कडे आपल्याला जावंच लागतं.
मैडम एक क्वेश्चन है, कैन आई आस्क? हेलो.
Yes, surely.
Yes, madam. Madam, I am a homeopath practicing homeopathy. Now there are several cases which are as such termed incurable, but in homeopathy we have treatment and a cure is possible, but not guaranteed.
Yes.
Okay. Now suppose tomorrow if a patient comes to us and his problem it increases after taking our treatment. We assured them that yes, your problem is treatable, and in some of the cases we have even got cured, and he has come to us with hopes. But the problem, instead of getting cured, it increased. So are we legally held responsible for it?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You don't undergo any type of surgeries.
Correct.
Correct. You only treat the patient.
Correct.
And while treating the patient, whether he is cured or whether he faces complications, now it is upon the doctor. Again, I had mentioned in my talk that it is your responsibility to convince the patient that, see, I have given a very proper treatment, but your body is not responding. So now you can have a better treatment with the more expert person. Now my medicine is not working, so you can now go to, he cannot say that this has happened because of your medicine.
Right.
Am I right?
Correct.
What is medical negligence? That you are asked to treat, a person goes to eye specialist, he has to be operated for left eye and the surgeon operates for the right eye.
Right.
That is 100% a medical negligence. He goes for a treatment of bile and you give him a treatment of fissure. This is medical negligence.
Correct.
The patient is, patient has an accident. He is severely bleeding and doctor is busy with some else work. and patient is calling and doctor does not attend, or doctor says I'm not available. That is medical negligence. So in specifically regards to the long treatments like Ayurveda and homeopathy, it is impossible or very hard to prove the medical negligence. So you
Like
need not meditate.
there are certain gray areas where the patient is also left helpless that whether he should go for surgery or for homeopathy. I give you
Definitely.
a very simple example that a
Hmm.
surgery for say second stage malignancy. Okay.
Hmm.
Now
Hmm.
there is just or even a third stage malignancy. There is a
Hmm.
possibility that
Hmm.
if the surgery is not done, the
Hmm.
patient may go into fourth stage. But there is
Yes.
also a possibility that even if the patient undergoes surgery, he may
Hmm.
go into fourth stage. So now, should we opt for the homeopathy or not? Is this the patient's decision or the doctors can take a call? No, you take our medicine, no need for the surgery. That is what my question was. Another aspect.
Again, it is malignancy is not like म्हणजे ते काही सर्दी खोकला नाहीये की it has to
बरोबर.
be taken lightly.
Right.
So it is the doctor why you know your patient physically as well as mentally. तुम्हाला पेशंट जेव्हा तुमच्याकडे येतो तेव्हा तुम्हाला पेशंटची काय मनस्थिती आहे हे जाणून घेणं पण आवश्यक असतं.
हो बरोबर.
तर तुम्ही म्हणाल की हे बघा माझ्या ट्रीटमेंटनी तो एकदम बरा होईल, तुम्ही काही सर्जरी करू नका, असं डॉक्टरने सुद्धा ठाम म्हणू नये. कारण उद्या तुमच्या औषधांनी बरा नाही. सी डेथ इज सर्टन. ते त्या दिवशी येणारच आहे आणि ते तुमच्या औषधाने न येता तो मेला तर डॉक्टर आम्ही तर सर्जरी म्हणत होतो, तुम्ही नाही म्हटले. सो इन दॅट केसेस मला असं वाटतं की आय थिंक की माइंड मेडिसिन विल वर्क. घेऊन बघा. इफ you feel comfortable, if you feel curable with that, try it. Otherwise, we will go for surgery. असं इट इज अपॉन यू टू कन्व्हिन्स द पेशंट की काय महत्वाचं आहे. I hope you got it.
Yes. Thank you so much, ma'am. It was a very nice lecture. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
I too have one question. My name is Shabina Sansari from second year.
Yes.
I want to ask one question as if the accused, if the victim is the doctor, not every time the patient is a victim, the doctor can also be the victim.
Yes,
So what are the
surely.
legalities and what are the laws which we can protect? What law offers doctor for the protection? What are the laws?
What do you mean by doctor is the victim?
In
Patient
any
has
case,
filed the case or
in any
personally.
no, patient has filed the case,
That is what
and where
doctors like. Yes.
yes,
Very often
when
we get into the news. डॉक्टरला मारहाण झाली, डॉक्टरला हॉस्पिटल फोडलं आणि patient very often keep complaining that doctor was negligent.
so I want to ask where the
To prove the doctor's negligence, that how doctor was not negligent. Again, even doctor can file a complaint against the patient. Doctor has every right to ask for protection. If any patient, तुम्हाला जर कुठल्या पेशंटने दम दिला की आता तुम्ही माझं बिल कमी करत नाही का, मग मी आता केसच करतो, तर डॉक्टर ऑल्सो हॅज अ राईट. ही कॅन ऑल्सो फाईल अ कंप्लेंट that is threatening me unnecessarily. It is very high to prove negligence of doctor is very important. And to prove the negligence is also difficult. It is very difficult to prove. So when the doctors are the victims, they have every right to file a complaint and take the help of the judiciary.
thank you, ma'am.
Yes. Any question from anyone? I think there are no questions. Your lecture itself was self-explanatory. Thank you so much.
And now I have with me Dr. Anjali Lamture, my departmental colleague for her doctorate.
Thank you, Aparna ma'am. Thank you, Varsha ma'am. Good afternoon to one and all. It gives me an immense pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks. As we all know that no function or no event is complete without the appreciation of the speaker and organizer. I would like to convey my thanks to Varsha Vinod Deshmukh ma'am for making her accessible and making time for us. For her lecture on the topic of legal aspects in medical practice. Madam had explained the subject in an extraordinary manner, as well as Madam emphasized on the current affairs like Vajay pattern and MTP also. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for accepting our request and helping us. I would like to extend my gratitude to our honorable chairman, sir, of our trust, respected G.D.Pol sir, for his constant encouragement to all of us. I also extend my thanks to our own principal, dean, and director, Dr. Mrs. Page ma'am, for her constant inspiration to all of us. I extend my gratitude to our vice principal, sir, and dean of faculty homeopathy, Dr. D.G. Bagal sir, for his back support. I would like to thanks to our organizing team, teaching and non-teaching staff, students, audience, and for making this event a grand success. Special thanks to the Seema ma'am and special thanks to mother of Seema ma'am also, as she is also there in this session. So thank you so much, ma'am. We will expect many more from you. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you, Anjali. I would like to share one thing. की we both sisters are complementary to each other. तिचं नाव वर्षा आणि माझं सीमा. तर लहानपणी मी आईला प्रश्न विचारला तर ती म्हणाले की आई मी जास्त इम्पॉर्टंट आहे कारण वर्षा म्हणजे पाणी, पाऊस खूप इम्पॉर्टंट आहे. तर आई म्हणाली पण पावसाला जर मर्यादा नसेल, सीमा नसेल तर तो काहीच उपयोगाचा नाही. तर असं वर्षा आणि सीमा या आईने कॉम्प्लिमेंटरी घातले जन्माला घातलेली जोडी आहे. सो थँक्यू माय ताई अगेन वन्स अगेन. खूपच छान आणि इन्फॉर्मेटिव्ह लेक्चर झालं. तुला थँक्स, वोट ऑफ थँक्स द्यायचे सांग.
Very much thank you to the all staff of G.D.Pol Foundation's Y.M.T Homeopathic College. I know your every activity since my part is in your college. I would pay my sincere gratitude to Dr. G.D.Pol, chairman of the college, your principal, Dr. Page, Dr. Bagal, coordinators, Dr. Kalgude, Dr. Lamture, and Dr. Sawar. And also to my younger sis, Dr. Seema Dangi. It was my pleasure taking this webinar. Let me tell you that this was my first webinar I have ever taken. And maybe henceforth, I hope you will keep me calling on different issues and I will be helping you for all such legal, social, family issues as and when I'm called for. Thank you all for giving me such a pleasure.
Yes, we need you.
I'm always there for you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, all of you. We declare that this event is over. All the best, ma'am. All the best, all of you. And have a great day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.